Every company I've worked for, I got paid, apart from this one. First month I was on there, I done $10,000 cash collected for the month, got paid for that. The second month I was on there, done 10,000 again. The easiest thing to do on a sales call when it gets uncomfortable as a prospect is to press the red button and just go back to the normal reality.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode where we are speaking with another sales rep who was not paid the commissions that they were due. So I'm going to leave it to today's guest to introduce themselves.
Cheers. Hey everyone on the channel. Just wanted to come on here and explain my story and what happened with myself, because every company I've worked for, I got paid apart from this one. So I am a high ticket closer. I've been in the space for probably around 18 months now. First offer I jumped on, I was a setter, worked my way up, etc. This one company was a UK company, and a really good friend of mine who I knew from my first offer, he was coming up to become the sales manager. And obviously as a sales manager, you bring in new reps and you want the best reps. So he wanted to bring myself on because he knew I was a good closer for the offer. He knew that they needed new reps, and he knew he could trust me. And obviously I trusted him too. Good relationship, me and my friend, we still have a good relationship there. So I jumped on the offer. First month I was on there, I done $10,000 cash collected for the month, got paid for that. The second month I was on there, done 10,000 again, got paid for that. The first 2 months I was on, I was the highest cash collected rep. Didn't have the highest close rate, but I got the highest cash collection. And then as I started progressing into the company, like I noticed more and more, and I'm not here just to slate on the company, but I noticed more and more there was a lot of micromanagement. There was a lot of, if you done a little slight thing wrong on a call, it was pulled up and you were on a 45-minute call and you were essentially walking through exactly why you fucked up and what effect it was going to have on the company. Which is fair enough, I understand that, but of course as sales reps, not every single call is going to be 100% perfect. Long story short, I ended up having 2 calls in, so let me rephrase that. I had, out of all the calls I had in my last month there, 2 of them in that single month ended up in a hang-up in objection handling. Now, as us sales reps know that not everybody can be saved. Not everybody who comes on your call can be saved, okay? My job, I believe, was to hold the client, the potential client, accountable and basically say to them, hey, this is what you've been fucking up with for the past X amount of years. Do you want this to carry on? Okay. 2 of these calls ended up in the potential client hanging up, and the lead was completely burned. Yes, I probably could have done a lot better job in that situation, but each time the business owner, who, quick dig here, hasn't got any sales experience, they would get me on a call and they would say, you cannot push people, you cannot hold people accountable like that. We've got a brand that we need to protect. We can't have anybody hanging up. This is going to look bad for the brand. Which is fair enough, hold my hand up to do that. It happened again like 2 weeks later where I had another hang up. Just say I had like 40 calls in 2 weeks. Out of that 40, I was getting 1 hang up.
Which is pretty normal, by the way. For those listening, like, I've been in the sales space for a long time. To hold people accountable, sometimes people are not going to enjoy the feeling. And that feeling is just the fact that they know you're right. And they know that, like, they need to make that change, or they know that they need to make that decision. A lot of people are uncomfortable with wanting, that's why they're in that position. So as a sales rep, it's like our job to do that. And we're usually trained in a great way to do that really smoothly. But once in a while, you will get people who like just don't know how to take it and they don't take it. So by the way, like, you're doing nothing outside of the ordinary. Like, I would actually say that makes you a great sales rep.
Yeah. I would rather push someone a little bit too far and put a little bit of pressure on them, and then in 12 months they message me like, thank you for that pressure, you've changed my life, rather than not pushing it. And like what I say, you know, the easiest thing to do on a sales call when it gets uncomfortable as a prospect is to press the red button and just go back to the normal reality. So yeah, thanks for clarifying that. I actually missed that point. Anyways, long story short, it happened again. I got another hang up in objection handling, and when I was on my calls, I was actually feeling a lot of pressure. I didn't feel like I was myself, the usual closer, which I am, because I was thinking, shit, I can't push, or I can't challenge, or I can't do what I'm good at doing. We got, after that second hang up, we got on another call with the business owner, and she was like, okay, I really like you as a person. I think you're really good. You've already had a warning. This is another warning. 3 warnings and you're off the team. I don't want to kick you off the team because I really like you, but I want you to prove to me that you can improve. So as a punishment, she put me off the calendar and she had me outbound dialing. And the goal with that was in a full week, so let's say 7 days, my goal was to get a deal a day by doing outbounding. So I was like, okay, let me see what I can do. Got on all my follow-ups, got on all the cold leads, warm leads, etc. And that week I ended up getting, I believe it was 4 deals out of the 7. On the Sunday, the business owner reached out to me and said, hey, this is how much you owed in commissions, send me an invoice over and we'll pay it. So I sent the invoice over on the Monday morning. By the Monday afternoon, my full Slack account was deactivated. I was kicked off the full Discord of all the clients. I was kicked off everything. By the way, this is while I was doing my outbound dials on Close, the CRM. I went to dial a lead. I was like, shit, like, why is it not fucking dialing? So I looked at Slack, seen that I was signed out. So I messaged one of the setters on Instagram. I was like, hey bro, can you check my Slack? He was like, yeah, you've been deactivated. I was like, what the fuck? Didn't hear anything off the business owner, and then yeah, couldn't even message the business owner on Slack because obviously I'm off Slack. Ended up sending the invoice for, by the way, I didn't clarify how much it was. It was £5,000 for that month, but then because the invoice was, she messaged me, let's say the 10th of the next month, I'd already had a few deals that month as well. So in total I was owed, it was $7.5 to $8,000 in commissions, something like that. Deactivated me, sent the invoice like 6 times. I even said on the last invoice I sent, like, look, I'm not bothered about that 10 days I worked. I know the business isn't making as much money as it used to. I'm happy for you to share that commission with the rest of the setters just to keep them sweet. I just want paid the invoice what I'd already sent. She didn't reply, she didn't respond. So then a month later, I just messaged her on WhatsApp. I was like, look, I've seen that you still haven't responded to my emails. I know this commission. Are you going to pay me? Yes or no, essentially. It took her like, this was Christmas time, it took her like a week to respond. And then she basically said that I was difficult to work with. You know, she started saying that I wasn't listening. She started just basically making me out to be a bad rep. When I spoke to the other closers, like, they thought the opposite. Like, I would be the first to admit, okay, shit, like, maybe I could have done a bit more work, maybe I could have closed some more deals. But in my opinion, like, I thought it was okay, to be fair. She ended up saying, because you have told other closers your experience and not to join my offer, I've lost out on all of this business revenue. So therefore, I'm not paying you your commissions and I will be pursuing legal action on yourself.
So
That version,
because
go, sorry,
she didn't, so she initiated kicking you out the business, didn't pay you your commission, and because you rightfully told your other contractor friends, which we all have to protect each other because we have livelihoods and we like work for free, about your experience, so be aware, she then decided because of that she was still not going to pay you, even though it was the whole point was from the fact that she hadn't paid you in the first time, was why other people were not coming, and then threatened you with legal action as well. So a whole bunch of illegal crap going on right here.
Exactly. And I will say, like, when the thing that I was most surprised about was the difficult to work with, because when I was on the offer, I was actually on pins. Like, usually I'm a chilled out guy, but even my girlfriend said, like, you're not yourself, like, you're always on pins, like, because I didn't know what was going to happen. Like, I didn't know, like, the business owner was always on the case, micromanagement, all of that good stuff. So I was on pins. So if anything, I wasn't difficult because I would respond on Slack straight away.
On every,
But it was actually different.
I can tell about the way that you talk about it, even like the way you talk about your experience. You're like, I think I could have done better, because I'm sure she probably made you believe you could have. But I'm here thinking, It sounds like you did a pretty good job. If you were one of the top cash collectors, you were dialing. If I told closers to get down and dial to get themselves back into the calendar, it showed that you were focused, that you were willing to do whatever you needed to do. It shows that like you were respectful,
Yeah,
and it shows that the fact that you were taking people to the end of the call shows that you were willing to hold people up to their accountability, which is what a closer should be doing. So to me, it actually, funny enough, it sounds like you're doing everything that I would have asked from anybody, and that's the worst thing I hate. Being a sales rep and a sales manager, I never want my sales guys to feel like they're on pins. You can ask, the person that you may know that works on one of my teams. They
yeah,
never feel like they're on pins around me. That's just the worst thing that you can do. Being there as a sales rep, you put pressure on them. It makes you worse. It doesn't make you
yeah.
better. My job
It
is to
does.
remove pressure off you and actually to give you the space sometimes to say, you know what, it's not nothing too serious. Go and take the weekend off. Go for a
Yeah,
jog, right? Come back Monday, you'll be fresh. But
yeah.
continue because it sounds like you were in a terrible environment as well.
Yeah, that's correct, mate. That's correct. And my friend who was the sales manager, he has now left that offer as well for this reason. Um, but yeah, man, that's what happened. She just ended up not paying me. I was actually in Dubai at the time when I got that message. I was spending Christmas with my friend who I'm talking about and our girlfriends, having a good time. And I seen that message, and in all honesty, like I've never been threatened with legal action before in my life. And when I first seen that, like I shit myself. I was like, "Fuck!" Like, do I reply? Of course, I've heard in Dubai stories of people, posting bad reviews of other companies and getting jail shit like that. So I was like, "Fuck!" Like, what do I do here? So yeah, like I seen that message, and I was like, after a day, like my girlfriend was saying to me, how can she threaten you with legal action when she hasn't paid you your money, left you in a position where you're having to find a new offer and just not even told you anything about it? So it ended there. Now the reason why I told my friends, so when I got kicked off, I had, I would say, around at least 5 people reach out to me from my like sales community, what I'm in, what I've invested in, friends, like really good friends. Just like you've got business partners, Josh, you've got a team and everything. If a friend reached out and says, "Hey, I'm wanting to work for this company. What was your experience?" Now, as a good friend, I wasn't going to lie to them and say, "Oh, it was great. Got paid all my commissions, didn't get threatened with legal action, anything like that." As a friend, I just told them. So
Yeah,
that's why she came back with that. But yeah, to
doesn't
this
make
day,
any sense.
that was 2 months ago when I got that message. So you know what? I thought, fuck it, we move on. It fell at the right time because then another guy from my community he reached out, had a better offer for me, more relaxed, performing twice as better,
Let's
making
go.
more money.
Let's
So
go.
it
That's
was
life.
like it, yeah, it
Yo,
was like it was meant to be. And in all honesty, Josh, like if that didn't happen, I probably would have still been on that offer on pins. And it was a UK offer, and I'm at Mexico at the minute, so I won't
let's
be able to come to
go.
Mexico.
Let's
So
go. Well,
there's,
listen.
there's always the light side.
Listen, the beauty of all these things is like I really do believe that everything in life happens for a reason. And even when, with my experience with my team that wasn't paid nearly 80,000 in commissions, it's probably one of the roughest 645 days I've ever been through in my life in terms of just like the mental dissonance caused by, people that I was
Oh
managing
yeah,
and cared about and that I knew had worked hard and we had all worked hard. And, trying to come to terms with like, listen, it is what it is and you have to move on. That's the hardest part, right? You got to move on, and that was what I was trying to really push on with the guys. Was listen, you have to move on. And one of them right now actually is in my team right now, and he's crushing it. He's about to hit his first 20K month, and like so excited. I'm like, if this didn't happen, we wouldn't be here and all this type of stuff. But again, it still doesn't remove from the fact that it would have been great, obviously, if we had also been able to leave and find our next, journeys in life without having that experience.
yeah,
Also, I think that
definitely.
amount of money in our bank accounts would have felt a little bit better as well at the time, and maybe we would have reached where we wanted to. So, till this day, you've still never received that 8,000.
Never received it. You talking about that, like the way that I felt when I first got kicked off and I wasn't getting paid, it was like it was a thought in the back of my mind, like, okay, I'm kicked off. It is what it is. It happens. Some people, whatever. But for like the next month or two, I was thinking, am I gonna get paid? Am I not? So I just kept sending emails. I felt like the email was probably the best way to contact her, just because it's professional. I know she checks the emails because she's got one email for the invoices. Yes, it just still didn't get paid. I don't have like hatred towards the company or anything like that. Like it is what it is. It's business. But I just feel like I wanted to share my story with people because if I could look back and the major thing is, if you see a red flag in a company when you first go onto it, just fucking make that jump like straight away, like just fuck it off. Because I knew that I could make good money on that company, but the first day I onboarded, I think I had 7 calls, I got 2 PIFs and 1 down payment. The business owner reached out like, well fucking done. We need you to be at a 40% closing rate. You're currently at a 28, something like that. I don't know. How can we improve? So I was like, fuck, it's my first day. So that was, of course, high standards and everything, whatever. But I was like, okay, a couple of red flags. I should have jumped ship straight away, but
Yeah,
maybe
that's
some guys can
and
learn off
that's
that.
not high standards. That is unqualified business people. I run a team that does around 1.5 million per month. We have some of the highest standards you can find in the industry, and that is not how you A, motivate a team. Those numbers aren't realistic, and B, that's not how you set stand. And I've seen this many times. Like, people think being a leader is this sort of authoritarian, like, hey, we need to hit 40%, and you just preach that every single day. 40%
Yeah,
close rate, and if someone hits 27, you need to be at 40%. If it was that simple, it would be really, really easy to be a boss and a great
yeah,
CEO, because all you would need to do is find the metrics you need and then shout at people every single day and see what happens. But the truth is,
yeah,
business doesn't work like that, because you have to be able to motivate people, encourage people, get people to want to do more, get people to want to work with you, help them out. How can you help them improve as a person? What can you do yourself as a company to give them the best shot at doing, and not knowing, is it even possible to hit those targets? Setting
yeah,
unrealistic targets, that is it possible within my niche, within my operations? But this is the issue with working, in this industry we are, where we're specifically working with a lot of like creators, people who are more influencers and creators than they actually are business people. Is
yeah,
they tend to launch their products, and they've got a big audience, and they grow a company to very large amounts, 6 figures per month, without the skill sets of somebody who should be managing that. In the normal world, to manage a business doing 6 figures a month, you need a degree, a business management degree. You need to be an experienced CEO. You've probably gone and like worked with many, many people and had experience over 10, 15, 20 years before you finally go ahead and manage a company with that amount. But what we're
definitely.
seeing in this industry is just creators, influencers thrust into the world of business with these responsibilities of managing
Yeah,
operations, expectations. As you said, she'd never been in sales, so she doesn't even know what a realistic number is or even how to give you feedback. So that's what
yeah,
always the hardest part that I find, and why I find it hard to trust. Even if they want to be good and want to help you out and work with you, they don't know how to. They're not skilled enough, and to be honest, they're unqualified to be business owners of that level. And I don't think you should have to trust them to be able to work for them. I think they can have great products and have a great audience, but whether they're a good enough operator to be able to
yeah,
manage that success is two
yeah,
different things. And I don't think a lot of them are, because I
yeah,
find it hard to vet them. And I think, when people say vetting them and check who you work with, I'm like, well, they're pretty legit. Like, their business is great, their marketing is really good, they've got a good audience. They're just not great business people, and
yeah,
it's just the
yeah,
fact that they've grown so quick. I don't think they've ever had to manage money like that.
yeah,
So the fact she doesn't seem to understand that, you're a contractor, you're in an agreement, you have a contract, she has to pay you on time, that you're due to be paid, all those things is very, very like worrying. And then she goes ahead and uses legal action. So I guess for you now, looking back, or maybe looking into the future, right? For other sales reps, and if, let's say, we got the check and we were able to write how our way in the world looks like, how would you want the commission payout process to work, right, for sales reps, commission only sales reps in the industry, in terms of your payout schedule, who has the money, where it's held, etc.? In an ideal world, what would you invent? What would you say?
in an ideal world, like a perfect world, like what we were discussing, Josh, and I didn't actually think about this. Like the business owners, if you think about it, they get paid. So let's say you take a payment for like our offer was £4,200. Let's say you or £3,000, whatever. Um, let's say you got a pay for 4.2k. That is going straight into the business owner's account. So why shouldn't you straight away get the commission that day? When as soon as it lands, it should be pretty automated. Now that would be an ideal, perfect world where if we collect $10,000 that day, we should get $1,000 that day. That would be perfect. However, like what I discussed with you as well, like I know people who they don't want to leave an offer until they get paid because they don't know if they're going to get paid, so they want to get paid first. So even if like reps got paid weekly, and you know like every single Saturday morning that check was coming into your account, no problems. Like I've seen some reps, they're meant to get paid on the first, then something happens and it doesn't come in the bank until like the 10th. And by the time the 10th's there, like, you know, you're fucking already a third into the next month.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think what I've always thought about is even that part about even when you leave a company and you've sent invoices, maybe second pays and two pays, is whatever solution potentially that we're kind of working on, and maybe others might be working on, is kind of be able to just always pay me that. So even if I leave a company, but my two pays are due in 2 weeks, it'll still pay me that, right? If the money lands, it lands. You know, there's no question asked. There's no, well, it did land, but we haven't actually taken it up into our accounts yet. So that's kind of like where, you know, I agree as well, where I think the world should be able to work in that way, because there is an element of fear. There's an element of risk. And when you've had that experience, you never ever can take what we do to the same freedom as we did. And it's scarring. To be honest, it's hard then to work with businesses. It always runs through the back of your mind. You know, whenever you feel like celebrating or when you feel like feeling good, it does run a little bit sometimes still in the back of my mind once in a while. Even if I don't believe it, even with this person I work with is great, what if? It's just the question, because I've experienced it before. What if actually I didn't get that money? Like, it's that fear. And I don't think we should have to live with that fear as sales reps. I think we do a tremendous job. One of our jobs is bringing in revenue, and we are already doing one of the hardest jobs out there, which is living every single day based on the fact that whatever we put in, we get out. And that's one of the highest leverage jobs for high potential, high performance people, is we take control of our life. We put in the work every single day and we get out what we kill. Every single day. We don't get any handouts, we don't get anything special. We get what we kill. Now imagine we do that. We have to keep ourselves at a high standard, at a high level, perform, show up every single day. People in other jobs actually can take 2-3 days to chill and relax. They still get paid. But we have to go in every single day, but still to not have the guarantee that showing up every single day at the highest level guarantees that I'm going to get the outcome. That's something that I don't think can stick for a long time. And I think that has to change.
Yeah, and I think as well what you say, you do have that feeling, especially if it's happened once, like what if, so like, let's say you're due to get paid on the 1st, but it gets to the 3rd and it's still not there, and then the 4th, and then the 5th, and then you chase up the business owner, then the 6th, and the 7th, and then they tell you, you know, the page hasn't paid us out yet, the whatever, and then when it gets to like the 9th, you're like, shit, like what if? So it's always in the back of your mind, and you shouldn't have to have that. You should just be focusing on improving sales, working on yourself, and just performing like an athlete, because at the end of the day, we're working with business owners, we're not working for them. We are our own business, you know. We should be getting paid like a business too.
Yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on. I think this was a really great chat. Thank you for being so open and honest and chatting a little bit more about your situation. And I'm very happy, and I think everybody watching this or hearing this will be very happy to hear that you're doing a lot more better. You're on bigger things now, and you know everything happens for a reason. So continue to crush this year. Thank you so much for being a part of this, and hopefully we can make a better change for the future.
Cheers, Josh. My pleasure.